At -81 degrees Celsius, the world doesn't just freeze, it becomes something else entirely. The air turns sharp, like invisible blades cutting into your skin. Every breath feels like it could be your last. Out here, in this endless frozen wilderness, nature doesn't forgive, and it doesn't wait. Survival is not a guarantee. It's a fight that most would lose within minutes. But far away from cities, far away from help, in a small, fragile wooden cabin buried deep beneath layers of snow, lived an elderly couple. They had spent most of their lives here, not because it was easy, but because it was home. They understood the silence of the snow, the warning hidden in the wind, the deadly beauty of the cold. Every crack in the ice, every shift in the air, told a story. And on that night, the story was different. The storm came without mercy. The sky vanished behind a wall of white. The wind roared like a wild beast, shaking the cabin as if trying to tear it apart. Snow slammed against the windows, building thicker with every passing second. Inside, the fire struggled to hold its ground. The old man sat quietly, feeding another piece of wood into the flames. His face was calm, but his eyes were focused. He knew this kind of storm. It was the kind that didn't just test you. It ended you. Across from him, his wife wrapped herself tighter in a wool blanket, listening to the violent world outside. They didn't speak much. They didn't need to. Years of survival had taught them one thing. Silence often says more than words. And then, something broke that silence. A sound, faint, weak, almost impossible to hear. The old man paused. At first, he ignored it. The wind often played tricks, mimicking cries, creating illusions in the storm. But then it came again. A fragile, desperate cry, barely alive. This time, his wife looked up too. They both heard it. Their eyes met. No words, just understanding. Slowly, the old man stood up, pulling on his heavy coat, wrapping his scarf tightly around his face. His movements were careful, deliberate, because stepping outside in this kind of cold was a risk, a serious one. He opened the door, and instantly, the storm attacked. The wind slammed into him, nearly knocking him backward. Snow filled the air, blinding, suffocating. The cold wasn't just cold, it was violent. It tried to force him back inside. But he stepped forward, one step, then another, each movement heavy, slow, fought against by the storm. The sound came again, fainter now. He turned toward it, pushing deeper into the white chaos. And then, through the swirling snow, he saw it, a shape, collapsed, half buried, a reindeer. Its body was stiff, covered in ice, barely moving. Frost clung to its fur-like armor. Its breathing was shallow, fragile, fading. And beside it, something smaller, a calf, tiny, trembling, fighting with everything it had just to stay alive. For a moment, everything stopped. Even the storm felt distant, because in that moment, there was a choice. Walk away and survive, or stay and risk everything. The old man didn't hesitate. He turned and ran back to the cabin. The door burst open, snow swirling in behind him. His wife stood instantly, reading his face before he could even speak. "They're out there," he said. "They won't make it." That was enough. No questions, no doubts. They moved, fast, blankets, ropes, whatever they could grab. Their movements were quick but careful, driven by urgency and something deeper, compassion. Together, they stepped back into the storm. This time, it felt even colder, even more dangerous. They followed the old man's path until they reached the animals. The calf was barely conscious now, its tiny body shaking uncontrollably. The woman dropped to her knees beside it, gently wrapping it in thick blankets, holding it close as if it were her own child. "It's still alive," she whispered. The old man nodded, but his attention was on the mother. She was heavier, much heavier, and far worse. For a brief second, doubt crossed his mind. Could they even save her? But then he looked at the calf, and that doubt disappeared. "We take them both," he said. The journey back was brutal. Every step felt heavier than the last. The wind pushed against them, trying to knock them down. Snow swallowed their legs, slowing them, trapping them. Their hands went numb, their faces burned from the cold. But they didn't stop. They couldn't, because stopping meant death. Finally, after what felt like forever, they reached the cabin. The door slammed shut behind them, and for the first time, they were safe. Inside, the warmth of the fire felt almost unreal. The woman carefully laid the calf near the fireplace, gently removing the snow from its body, rubbing it slowly to bring warmth back. The old man focused on the mother. She wasn't moving, not even a little. For a moment, fear filled the room. Had they been too late? He leaned closer, watching, waiting. Then, a breath, faint. But there, she's alive, he said quietly. And just like that, hope returned. The night became a battle, not against the storm outside, but against time. They worked without rest, feeding small drops of warm water, keeping the fire alive, covering the animals with everything they had, watching, waiting, refusing to give up. Hours passed. The storm slowly weakened. But inside the cabin, the fight continued. And then, the calf moved, just slightly, but enough. Its eyes fluttered open, weak but aware. The woman smiled, tears forming in her eyes. "You're safe now," she whispered. But the mother, she was still fighting, still on the edge. The old man sat beside her, placing his hand gently against her frozen body. "Come on," he murmured. "You've made it this far." Time stretched. Every second felt heavy. And then, something changed. Her breathing deepened. Her body shifted, just a little. And then, she moved. A miracle.